Hey, what's up, everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for all things Rocket League. Going to be talking about Rocket League Summit 2 today. We had the European side start to kick off, and along with that, we finally got some Mafia. If you guys don't know what that is, we'll talk about it a little bit later in the video, but ultimately talking about some of the tournaments that are going on, as well as at the tail end of the video, some changes that are possibly going to be coming to the channel. But before we get into that, as always, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, follow, subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you drop those down below. I'll make sure to get back to them in a timely fashion. But with that said, let's get straight into the video. So the second half of the Rocket League Summit number 2 has officially gotten underway, with Europe starting and their 8 teams. We got Team BDS, Top Blokes, Giants, Guild, Galaxy Racer, Vitality, Dignitas, and Endpoint. As we take a look at the groups, we've got Group A, which is Dignitas, Galaxy Racer, Giants, and BDS. And some surprising results, if you didn't tell by the title. For the first time ever, the current regional champions in BDS, the most dominant team, the number 1 overall team, was swept. This has not happened. No team has fully swept a team. And even more surprising, it is Dignitas, a team that is trying to trend back in a good direction after having a really rough offseason and trying to find their new form. A team that struggled pretty heavily in recent months is trying to make a resurgence, with apparently Jack joining now that Yukio is gone, and it looks like they're finally starting to do that. The game was actually extremely convincing in favor of Dignitas, that are trying to get more and more on form, and this is coming before the holiday break. This is something that I'll be talking about a little bit later in the video about the holiday break and what's coming up. But for Dignitas, this is a team that is dealing with a new team dynamic, trying to figure out how Jorius and apparently Jack are going to fit into the role, and if past plays are still going to develop, or if they're taking a different approach. You've got a player in Violent Panda who is dealing with tendonitis in his thumb still, and because of the circuit system, hasn't really been able to take a long form break and kind of just relax and try to rest up. That just hasn't really happened yet. So I'm happy to see. I talked about how Dignitas in my power rankings, which more power rankings coming out here shortly. They just need to give him time off. Panda needs to take some time to relax and let his thumb heal, so when he comes back, it's at full strength, but he keeps kind of having it and kind of putting up with it in the meantime. So interesting to see Dignitas, a team that I do see potential in, actually taking a big step. I will say, on the opposite side of that, to play devil's advocate, this is Beyond the Summit. It is not meant to be the most serious tournament in the world. Yes, it is a $25,000 prize pool, but a lot of these guys come into this tournament for banter and fun and hanging out. The second match for Group A was going to be Galaxy Racer versus Giants, and in another upset, a team that I consider top 3 in the region, with Itachi's addition being absolutely stellar for Giants. They end up dropping to Galaxy Racer. Galaxy Racer trying to prove that they are also another dominant team. This one was a little bit closer, did have 2 overtimes in game 4 and 5, 207 and 225. But a lot of 1-goal game series in this. Galaxy Racer does seem to be a team that I want to continue to have trending in the top 5, but there's always been that moment where they just can't push past these teams consistently. They have been able to beat them in one-offs, whether it be Giants or BDS or Vitality, as Vitality continues to trend down. But in this one, man, I think Europe is starting to get extremely competitive in that top 6, top 7 area, where each one of these teams can trade out. I don't think you're going to continue to see BDS as super dominant all the time. There's obviously some banter on Twitter about the BDS situation as well, about how they're just, quote, saving the juice for RLCS, and this is kind of a one-off thing. But you are going to be seeing a lot of teams here taking a break and a little bit of time off, because it has been a really long grind before they get into Regional 3 in the spring split. So Galaxy Racer does win 4-2 up against Giants. We then get into the winners match. You take the 2 winners, and in this case, it is Dignitas and Galaxy Racer. They will be playing for seeding. Both these teams are automatically into the playoffs. This will be going down today, and whoever wins this will have the high seed. The other one will have the low seed as first and second seed. And then on the other side of that, you're going to see BDS and Giants playing for elimination match, where one of these teams will continue to progress on, while the other one will end up getting eliminated altogether. So you're telling me no matter what, on the playoff day, we're not going to have BDS or Giants, one or the other. One of these has to get eliminated. You're talking a top 3 team will be removed early, which I think is a pretty big deal and a really good opportunity for someone like Dignitas or Galaxy Racer to solidify themselves as a top tier team and kind of get that notoriety that they're looking for and a good vibe in the offseason before they take that extended break. We then go into Group B, which is Endpoint, Vitality, Guild, and Top Blokes. And again, more surprises. The big one for me is Top Blokes, but we'll get to that second. Up first, we got Vitality versus Guild, another team that I had some concerns on. I talked about this a few weeks ago. But with Devo's addition, how has it slotted in? Is it looking good? And last week and a half ago, I was pretty impressed. I was actually really excited to see the way that the team is trending and the way that they've been competing. With Devo being a little bit more active on offense, talking about like the Rizzo role, where he's super facilitative rather than waiting and feeling confident and then going and being his high flying crazy mechanics. He's going for dribbles. He's first in rotation. He's first to the ball. And then he goes and bullies and denies boost and demos and just tries to get in the face of the other team. Very disruptive. He'll half rotate and cut off a play to create an opportunity. I saw him do that in their last series, not from Beyond the Summit, but from Regional 2, where he was in the top right corner. He completely cuts somebody off. He rotates back and then gets a solo play. And he does it 1v2, 1v3. And it's like that kind of disruption is going to make everybody else on the team confident, get better positioning and more boost management so they can sustain offense, which is something that has been a problem for Guild in the past. So you're starting to see Guild really put a fight up. But for Vitality, again, even though they have been trending somewhat downward and not having the best results and falling out of tournaments early, they still find ways to win. They will always be competitive because they just have too much talent not to. This one does go to 7 all the way. Game 1 starts off with an overtime, and then it's relatively back and forth. Guild is on match point for Game 6 and Game 7, but Vitality does hold on. So Vitality not only holds on, but shuts them out in both of those. I think that's the hardest thing, is if you can shut out Vitality in a game, you're putting yourself in a really good position, but the likelihood of that happening is not very common. So the teams that do either tell me that Vitality is having an off day or something you're doing is very good and you should recreate that. But in this case, Vitality scores in every single game, sometimes as much as 4 goals. So very tough to stop that on a continuous level. They make you work for it. We then get into the second match, which is Top Blokes versus Endpoint. And this is one that you would assume Top Blokes wins, but it's not that case either. Endpoint ends up winning 4-2, where Top Blokes does get the first 2 games. And then they score 3 goals over the course of 4 games, and Endpoint shuts them down. Endpoint was a team that I was starting to lose a little bit of faith in, just because I think they are super reliant on having that one player really pop off. Their play style, obviously very demo heavy with Virtuoso, just kind of roaming the field. But I do really like Metsnaris in the midfield and his capabilities of setting things up and kind of continuing on. He's kind of like that midfield transition. I mean, honestly, like a midfield in soccer or football, depending on where you're from, where he's there to help back on defense, but he's also there to help up on offense and either be the guy to take it out wide and pass it back infield or cross it, or take the shot if he's open on a breakaway. But Relating Wave's defense, I think, is starting to transition further up on field, and they're applying that pressure continuously. So it is good to see Endpoint get some W's here. But for Top Blokes, I don't know if it's just because they're just not really all in it, but for them to only score 1 goal a game in their last 3, give or take, where they get shut out, where it's a 1-0 game in game number 4, but it's kind of weird. Top Blokes, I think, is one of the best, probably one of the ones I enjoy the most watching in Europe, with their creativity and offense, where their pass plays are with intent and power downfield or infield. And you didn't really see that. It was kind of weird, but credit to Endpoint for closing it out. I know it's just BTS. It's meant to be relaxed, but a win's a win at this point. That will bring us to today, our winners matches, which is going to be Vitality versus Endpoint. I assume Vitality will win this, but who knows with Endpoint. We've seen them pop off in the past and upset Vitality. In the elimination match, no Guild or Top Blokes in that head-to-head. That one is very exciting. I have expectations of Top Blokes winning, but I do think Guild will keep it extremely competitive, just a matter of who has the better game coming in. And then obviously you take the loser of the winners match and the winner of the losers match. So match 3 loser and match 4 winner, and they play together for the final seeding in that playoff bracket. So some exciting things on the line. I'm excited to see on how this playoff bracket works out. If you guys would like me to do predictions, let me know in the comments down below, and we'll make sure to do a prediction video on those ahead of time for you all. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up all the BTS stuff. The second half of the video, which we'll get to now, is kind of talking about future implementation. A couple things that are coming up on the channel just to keep you guys aware. Number 1, there is essentially like a 3-week break in competitive Rocket League. I cover Rocket League esports primarily, so if Rocket League isn't putting out content updates or new stuff, my YouTube channel doesn't really have much to cover. So I guess this is me inquiring to you guys, what kind of videos would you like me to make during these kind of lulls? I have some ideas and some things that I want to make and react to. I still want to do interviews with pro players and do analysis stuff and kind of start breaking down things on a really high level for like specific goals. And I have some ideas that I'm going to work on, but if there is things that you would like me to make, if there's specific content or ideas that you would like me to do, 2 ways. Number 1, comments down below. Number 2, come to our Discord. If you go in the description, discord.gg/Lawler, there is a suggestions and video ideas area in there. Some of you have done that, and I do appreciate it. But I do look at those from time to time. It's just right now there's the struggle of, and this is just me being candid with you guys, even though free to play has made a lot of channels explode, a lot of these players coming in and playing for the first time for free to play aren't really focused on the esports side. So I don't see that growth, which is something that hopefully will pay off long term. But I'm going to be trying to experiment with some content, and maybe it's gameplay with some pros. Maybe it's going to be myself and maybe a couple of the V1 guys playing and talking and interacting. Is that stuff you guys would be okay with? Because I know our content is focused specifically on one thing, and I don't want to just completely 180 it on you. So again, let me know your comments, concerns. The last time I asked you guys about like upload schedule, all of you were like, I'm going to watch it no matter what, which means a whole lot. But again, I don't want to just start putting stuff out that makes no sense as I'm trying to figure things out. If I can be as direct as possible with you guys about that kind of stuff. So again, I do stream daily every day but Tuesday on twitch.tv/Lawler. We do have the holiday season coming up. I'm trying to figure out ways to put out videos ahead of time so I'm not burning myself at both ends. Not only am I streaming every day, but I'm also doing casting gigs. I had a double header today for casting, streaming, and then another casting gig like I did. And then I'm making a video tonight as well. So it's like I'm trying to find ways to get ahead of YouTube where I can put more videos together. So then I can kind of put those out ahead of time. So I'm not just like every single night working until 2 in the morning. So I'm trying to like actually sleep every once in a while. It's not always the easiest thing, but I hope you guys enjoy the more candid, more direct. If you guys have made it this far, I do greatly appreciate it. I want this to be as much as a collective effort with you guys as it is on my own ideas and stuff. So any ideas, suggestions, stuff, I'm always open to it. I'm trying to be as open as possible with you guys as I can because I think it's the only way that we're going to survive this together. So again, I do greatly appreciate the support. If you guys enjoy the content, as always, thumbs up, hit subscribe, notifications, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you for tomorrow's video. Peace.